So, if you are in the New York City shelter and you turn down a few apartments, yes, they're going to have a conversation with you because the idea is to get out of shelter and they have to do their job in providing you with a safe place to live and get you out of that bed to move another family in. So, let's get into New York City Department of Homeless Services. They do not automatically kick you out for turning down apartments. However, repeated refusals can trigger a formal conversation, a review of your case, and you can get sanctioned. So you have to actively look for permanent housing. So refusing multiple suitable offers can definitely lead to some consequences, but eviction from a shelter is rare and they must follow the process of the rules. So let's get into what actually happens if you turn down multiple apartments in New York City shelter. They do not immediately kick you out, okay? New York City has a legal right to shelter, so DHS cannot simply remove you from refusing housing. Shelters must remain safe and accessible for eligible clients. However, DHS can review your case if they believe that you are not cooperating with housing efforts. You will get sanctioned. So, what is that conversation going to look like when your housing specialist says, "Hey, come here, I need to talk to you"? You're going to go and sit down with your housing specialist and probably the site director. And this is when you turn down multiple apartments, so DHS or shelter staff typically ask, why are you refusing the units? They must determine what your reasons are. Listen to these reasons very carefully if you are going to have a conversation with your housing specialist or DHS. Safety concerns, medical needs, accessibility issues, location issues, domestic violence risk, and legitimate problems, meaning like it's not safe in the apartment itself. So you have to document your refusals and say like your pros and your cons. And the shelter staff must record your decision and your reason. They're going to review your housing plan with you. DHS requires clients to work toward permanent housing as a part of code and conduct and expectations for shelter residents. Warn if you refuse appear non-cooperative. So if DHS believes you're refusing appropriate housing without good cause, they're going to be like, "Hey, what's going on? Something's happening." They're going to give you a verbal warning, a written warning, and a case conference with supervisors to talk about the next step. Can DHS sanction you for refusing apartments? Absolutely, but under certain circumstances. Possible consequences include being labeled non-compliant with your independent living plan,